Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. Once again, this is Naaman with the DC Camp, back with another video. As you can see, we're talking about a house divided. The next U.S. Civil War may be closer than you think. This is by Thomas Kwan, newsbreak.com. First and foremost, call hello, Yahweh. About Shimmy, Shah, about Shimmy, Dash. Of course, double honors once again go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders, Great Millstone, who through the Holy Spirit continue to give us His truth. All right. Salutations to the fellow Akim out there on the highways and byways, pushing His truth in all honesty and sincerity, trying to wake up the remaining hopefully elect. As said, this is now Mount DC Camp. A house divided. The next U.S. Civil War may be closer than you think. Hopefully, you can see that by now. Hopefully, you've been paying attention. Yeah, you've been seeing this for a little while now. All right. It goes on to say civil war happens all over the globe, but experts believe with all the division, political climate change, national mass shootings, and policy change, people may be readying themselves for a new civil war here in the United States. Like, duh. All right. Because for the simple fact, you've got people that haven't been used to being treated like this. You've had people that have been privileged their whole miserable lives. Well, not miserable, but I mean, we're talking about Edomites here. They're good actors. A lot of them have been miserable, but they try not to show it. All right, you can have all kinds of material things and still be all fucked up. All right. It says expert Timothy Snyder, a history professor and expert on authoritarianism at Yale, sees a high possibility of civil war due to the civil unrest and political division in America. Kelsey Vlamis and Charles R. Davis of The Insider wrote a report on how an upcoming civil war may be possible, civil unrest and the current events our nation faces. And we've been telling you this, Great Millstone. It's been telling you this for oh so long. But a lot of you fan your hands, you call us crazy conspiracy theories and all other things, usually expletive laced. All right. But now, what say you? All right. The supply chain is broken. It's only going to get worse. I haven't heard anything about the strike, so I guess they reached an agreement. I'm talking about on the railroads. So, but still, it's not, this place is not going to recover. For all of you that are looking for the good old days, so to speak, it's strange that that's only been like a little over 2 years now. For some of you, the good old days. They're not coming back. So many people in very high positions in this world have said that already. Continuing on, it says Civil War experts speculate that the rate we are going a second American Civil War is possibly impending. Although this may seem impossible to many people, and those would be the people that aren't spiritual at all, that don't see what's happening. It says, although this may seem impossible to many people, those studying authoritarianism in the past American Civil War will see how America is currently unstable. Experts believe the tensions between the American people are growing. These experts attribute this to many factors: the rise of inflation, mass shootings, political movements like Black Lives Matter, and police brutality. And we know those were set up intentionally to play one against the other. See, that's how this devil works, and you have to know and understand the scheming bastard, all right, and how he works. And that's why we always bring out 2 Corinthians 2:11. You know, his devices All right, his intent, his schemes. All right. Oh man. And it says, oh, and then you throw in this hot button debates on women's rights, like Roe v. Wade, which was overturned, and the most recent election where the vote was incredibly close. They believe everything we know is about to change. Americans are dissatisfied with the current administration, the handling of the Crown Vicky, and the lack of hope that America will ever return to what made it so great. What the fuck made it so great? Aren't you tired of hearing that expression? Make America great. When was America great? They say this, and it's like, fuck what happened to the people that were being trampled over while this place was being made great. So if you're like me, you say, well, fuck you. I want this motherfucker gone yesterday. I'm glad of what I'm seeing. All right. Hey. Continuing on, it says, first of all, I just want to say that for the people who actually study the origins of civil wars, not just in the U.S., but as a class of events, America doesn't look good right now. Those social scientists who actually work on this topic neutrally see indicators in the United States which suggest that we are on the brink of some kind of conflict. All right. Local news reported federal agents have raided and stormed churches in August in Hinesville, Georgia, as well as Killeen, Texas. It says FBI stormed 3 churches across the southern United States for having cults allegedly recruiting and targeting United States military service members. On June 23rd, 2022, according to KTWX, the FBI raided 3 churches near military installations across the southern U.S. Did we hear about that in the regular news? Nope. There's a lot, and I hope you people are paying attention to this, and this is being done deliberately. There's a lot left out of your local news, and it's for a reason. There's so much resistance and protest going on around the world that a lot of people aren't aware of, because they fall for this local bullshit, which is just designed to keep you fat, dumb, and stupid. All right, and that's the American public, by and large. You're being programming. It goes on to say, I can confirm the FBI was executing court-authorized law enforcement activity today in the vicinity of the intersection of Massey Street and E. Rancier Avenue in Killeen, Texas. No additional information will be released at this time, FBI Special Agent Carmen Portillo said in an email statement to KWTX. The Assembly of Prayer Christian Church is, those white Christians, at 1013 Massey Street in North Killeen. All right, video shared on social media on June 23rd, 2022, showed law enforcement officers at the church. All right. It says experts in sociology believe these militias and cults, and that's why they're trying to link us up with that. Now that's, and see how stupid you jakes are in these other Israelite groups for advertising your firearms. If you want to go to range by yourself, that's cool. Nobody's arguing with you for that, but it's the image that you portray, and you're allowing them. Now, whether you're doing this intentionally or you're just fucking stupid, I can't tell personally, but it all kind of seems suspicious, and that's all I'm gonna say on that. So you're going to get linked with pieces of shit like this, and that's really what they want. It's called being, or executing wisdom, which apparently a lot of you do not have. It says, regardless of what motivates these people, on this one, this is certain they are not waiting for change to come. In the Buffalo shooting, where a young white male shot 13 grocery store customers, including 11 so-called African Americans, killing 10 innocent people, experts believe the cause is the Great Replacement theory, showing only the tip of the iceberg regarding current civil unrest in America. According to the How fucking insecure. But this goes to show you that when we say these prophecies are coming to fruition, you better believe it. All right. And they, you know, you got a lot of people that are just, oh, they're nervous because it's simple. What goes around comes around. All right. To really simplify it. And they know the atrocities they've committed. And this is biblical, you know. These things have to come to pass. The shedding of blood to correct the offense has to come. All right? Ain't no, I'm sorry and will you forgive me and all. No. That's that Negro Christian bullshit. That doesn't say that in the scripture. That's nowhere in the scriptures. That's that plantation Christianity bullshit. Let me show you. This is, hold on, keep trying to scroll up. Oops. That'll come later. This is Numbers going back, way back. This is Numbers chapter 35, verse 33. Oh, I'm sorry. Will you accept this shitty piece of paper? You know, no, you didn't do that. This wicked ass America was founded on violence, and it's going out that way. You better believe it. You best believe. This is Numbers 35 and 33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land. It's been so much blood of the Israelites spilled just over here in America alone. Just in the continental 48. Now, when you factor in the whole Western Hemisphere, and then wherever Israelites are in the world, oh boy. For blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. That's you, you wicked red pieces of shit. You so-called white people. No matter how many old Negro women you get to hum, those old Negro spirituals, that's not going to help you. No. Your ass is gone. But see, this is, I'm not going to read all of it because the point I'm going to make here, I'm going to go over to another article because, like I said, that's why I brought up that scripture. It's so much blood. So you've done so much wickedness. Not just here in America, but throughout the globe in establishing your empire. Nobody likes you. Oh, they pretend, and then we get into Obadiah on that. Oh, shoot, yeah, well, come right on in. Yeah, okay. But it says in Obadiah what's really going on. It talks about your pride and how it's deceived you. How you exalt you, because of that pride, how you exalted yourself. But when you go down here to 7, it says, all the men of thy confederacy, those that were in league with you, have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee, that they may eat thy bread, have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Let's go. Laid a wound. What is he talking about? Have laid a wound. And that is Strong's H4204. Mazawar. A net, a trap. Meaning dubious. So they're double dealing just like you were when you established your shit and you thought you were so slick. Oh, that's in another scripture. That's Isaiah 33. Let's get that real quick. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just thought that. Oh. Let's go to Isaiah 33. It says what's happening to your ass. This is Isaiah 33:1. Says, woe to thee that spoilest. For some of you that don't understand what spoilest is. Strong's H7703. Shaddad, to deal violently with, to spoil, devastate, ruin, destroy, just as you have done. All right. It says to be utterly ruined. Let's see what other robbers, just as you have been. Oppress, to ravage, to lay waste. This is what you've done throughout the earth. What is it? What do they say over here in America? What was it? Manifest destiny. Let's see what else we got here. To rush to an enemy, to bind fast. That's what you've done. You with your banking system and all that shit. All right. Yeah. Payback's a bitch, ain't it? No one deserves it more than you red piece of shit. You so-called white people. Oh, and it's coming hard and it's coming fast. And ain't shit you can do about it. It's so beautiful to be alive to see this. Because we as a people have been getting our asses kicked for so long. See, it goes into the Southern Poverty Law Center, those pieces of shit. You know who's behind them. See, a lot of jakes, you have to realize all these organizations that are so-called set up to pretend to benefit us, guess who's behind them? The people that took our identity. Those fake Jews. All right? Now, I want to go to this other article. I can post the link here. You can read the rest of this. It goes into Roe v. Wade and all that, but we've already, But I wanted to give you I kept making reference to the shit that they've done throughout the world. This article it's from Milwaukee. It's posted by Citizen Truth, but it's Milwaukee Independent. All right. Shit. Sorry about that. Anyway, the American empire destabilizing countries and wrecking their economies under the guise of liberty. This is from March 4th of last year. In fact, I'm going to bookmark this. All right. And it says, instead of opening doors for American big business or supporting America's diplomatic position in the world, the U.S. war machine has become a bull in a china shop, wielding purely destructive power to destabilize countries and wreck their economies. In 2004, journalist Ron Suskind quoted a Bush White House advisor, reportedly Karl Rove, and it sounds like something that arrogant prick would say, as boasting, "We're an empire now, and when we act, we create our own reality." He dismissed Suskind's assumption that public policy must be rooted in the reality-based community. "We're history's actors," the advisor told him, "and you, all of you, will be left to just study what we do." 16 years later, the American wars and war crimes launched by the Bush administration have only spread chaos and violence far and wide. And they made so much money robbing these countries blind, with everybody looking supposedly right at them. But because of the propaganda machine, goddamn shame how stupid people are. And it says how they believe that propaganda. And it says, in this historic conjunction of criminality and failure has predictably undermined America's international power and authority. Back in the imperial heartland, the political marketing industry that Rove and his colleagues were part of has had more success dividing and ruling the hearts and minds of Americans than of Iraqis, Russians, or Chinese. The irony of the Bush administration's imperial pretensions was that America has been an empire from its very founding, and that a White House staffer's political use of the term empire in 2004 was not emblematic of a new and rising empire, as he claimed, but of a decadent, declining empire stumbling blindly into an agonizing death spiral. And that's exactly, we always use that term CTD, circling the drain. That's what this place is doing. That's just what they're saying right here in another way. It says Americans were not always so ignorant of the imperial nature of their country's ambitions. George Washington described New York as the seat of an empire, and his military campaign against British forces there as the pathway to empire. New Yorkers, but when you really get into that, things aren't what they appear to be. That's a whole nother video. All right. It says New Yorkers eagerly embrace their state's identity as the Empire State, which is still enshrined in the Empire State Building and on New York State license plates. The expansion of America's territorial sovereignty over Native American lands, what did I read in Numbers 35 and 33? You know, got to pay with blood. Hey, there's no getting around that. It says the expansion of Native American of America's territorial sovereignty over Native American lands, the Louisiana Purchase, and the annexation of northern Mexico in the Mexican-American War built an empire that far outstripped the one that George Washington built. But that imperial expansion was more controversial than most Americans realized. 14 out of 52 U.S. senators voted against the 1848 treaty to annex most of Mexico, without which Americans might still be visiting California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Nevada, Utah, and most of Colorado as exotic Mexican travel spots. They just took that shit. And now they complain about illegal aliens. These some wicked, dirty motherfuckers, man. It says, in the full flowering of the American empire after the Second World War, its leaders understood the skill and subtlety required to exercise imperial power in a post-colonial world. No country fighting for independence from the UK or France was going to welcome imperial invaders from America. So, America's leaders developed a system of neo-colonialism through which they exercise overarching imperial sovereignty over much of the world, while scrupulously avoiding terms like empire or imperialism that would undermine their post-colonial credentials. That's part of that witchcraft, mesmerizing the people. You know, for so long, up until recently, everybody, and I can't put a amount of years on recently, I'll say, let's just say 20. It may be up until maybe 10 more of that, let's just say maybe the early 90s, mid 90s, something like that. It's hard to put a finger on it, because it just seemed like everybody was in a rush. They were willing to die to come over to this bitch, because they were under the impression that the streets were literally paved with gold, as some have said. But when they got over here, and they stayed over here a little while, some it didn't take long, some it took a little longer, they were like, this is some fucked up shit. So a lot of them just were of the frame of mind, will make me some money here, and I'm taking my ass back to my own country. And that's prophecy too. That's Isaiah 13, because more of that is going to happen here shortly. They're going to say, fuck this shit. All right. Anyway, continuing on, it says, it was left to critics like President Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana to seriously examine the imperial control that wealthy countries still exercised over nominally independent post-colonial countries like his. In his book, Neocolonialism, The Last Stage of Imperialism, I think it's Nkrumah, forgive me, condemned neocolonialism as the worst form of imperialism. For those who practice it, he wrote, it means power without responsibility, and for those who suffer from it, it means exploitation without redress. And that's what I keep telling you, or trying to in several of my videos. That's what these motherfuckers did. It's not something that you can really, unless you come to realize it, how these motherfuckers did. It's not, it's, what's that word? It's insidious. It's something that creeps up on you, all right? Because they don't beat you over the head with a stick. It's not like you see like Pinochet down in Pinochet, the late Pinochet, down in who was set up by the U.S. by the way. You know, dictators like that that are just, you know, this is some uh, slick shit. How they do it. All right. Anyway, exploitation. That's, see, our people got so caught up in, when you think of chattel slavery, you get people hung up and they're whipped until they're a bloody mess or they're castrated, you know, things that were done openly and intentionally to inflict fear in others in that way. That was the direct way. But now how do they get you? It's no longer physical change or anything like that. I mean, yeah, you got the, in a sense, you got the police murders, shoot Jake 60 times, shit like that. Yeah. But no, I'm talking about, look at the music industry. It's straight up exploitation. And when you see and you understand how those contracts work, that's straight up slavery. That's my point. It's, when you say racism is what is it called? It's interwoven. All right. In other words, everything they just, this whole Edomite / white supremacist shit is just, it's on the slick now. It's not, you know, but they're getting tired of playing that game, and you're going to see the real Edomites come to the forefront because they see their kingdom is taken. But why are you getting mad at us? That's your fault. You need to get into, but you know, hey, but we're the ones that are going to left us because we really can't defend ourselves, and that's the point of us being out there on the highways and byways, letting our people know that, hey, when the Most High, when he called Jacob a worm, that's just what we are. We are defenseless, and this is the point he's trying to prove to us. We need him. All right, we need him. We're going to need the Lord because this devil's blessing is the sword. We don't have that blessing. Ours is on the spiritual side. So there's going to be a whole lot of Jakes. There's going to be a whole lot of our people being slaughtered. And that's the operative word, slaughtered. All right? And we're trying to tell our people this, but they're like, you know, fuck you. All right, so, hey, fuck you. You're going to see. Anyway, past blame games over who lost China or Vietnam or Cuba have come home to roost in an argument over who lost America and who can somehow restore its mythical form of greatness. And that's just it, mythical form of greatness, all right? All right, or leadership. It says, even as America leads the world in allowing a pandemic to ravage its people and economy, and it just came over, I can't pull it up right now, but it just came over the wire not too long ago about how they just outright lied. All right, this doctor, what's her name? Her and Fauci, they lied about the whole thing basically, but especially about social distancing, and you needed to take 2 weeks to separate yourself from everybody, all that shit. That was just straight up lies. But they coming around with it now. Now supposedly the president has this shit now. But see, we told you in 2020 in April that this was some bullshit. But you didn't believe us. So we've been looking for over 2 years, looking at these motherfuckers acting stupid, really believing in this shit. And an official from the WHO came out, he was caught on a hot mic, saying that they needed to do this in order for you to get the shot. That's what it was all about, as we told you. God damn, you motherfuckers are just, you believe in this so-called white man to the point where you, and hey, that's scripture too. You're going to follow him. Oh, man. Anyway, so for time's sake, it says, this is a very good article too. I'll post the links to these and you can read them at your leisure. He says every successful empire has expanded, ruled, and exploited its far-flung territories through a combination of economic and military power. Even in the American Empire's neo-colonial phase, the role of the U.S. military and the CIA was to kick open doors through which American businessmen could follow the flag to set up shop and develop new markets. That's what the former Marine General Smedley Butler said when he testified. He said, I've been in the Marine Corps 33 years, some odd months. He went down to the day. And he said, after all that, he said, all I've been is a, how did he put it? In other words, hired muscle for the elites. And he made also the comment about, he said, he could teach Al Capone a thing or two because he did it on a much bigger scale than what Al Capone did. All right. And the thing about him, whether they were going to take his life or not, because his book is called War is a Racket. At the time, I think he was a Major General Smedley R. Butler. And how they got him back, they didn't kill him. I think his father was a congressman or something like that. It's been so long. But the coveted post for anybody at rank or higher is to be commandant. They fucked him over. He spilled the beans. So instead of taking his life, that's what they did. Anyway, so he knew that was a possibility. He wasn't stupid by any means. Anyway, it says, American businesses have not followed the flag into the ruins of Iraq or America's other current war zones in any lasting way. 18 years after the U.S. invasion, Iraq's largest trading partner is China, while Afghanistan's is Pakistan. Somalia's is the UAE, United Arab Emirates, and Libya's is the European Union. Because everybody has finally, we're tired of this American bullshit. Let's get with somebody else. Simple as that. And complicated as that. Instead of opening doors for American big business or supporting America's diplomatic position in the world, the U.S. war machine has become a bull in the global challenge shop, wielding purely destructive power to destabilize countries and wreck their economies. Closing doors, but it's backfired. Because nobody wants anything to do anymore with the American petrodollar. All right, closing doors to economic opportunity instead of opening them, diverting resources from real needs at home, and damaging America's international standing instead of enhancing it. And you got Trump in there, he just made it worse. And then this jackass currently in there, he don't know where he is half the time. And it's just become a joke. But that's part of that payback. You dig the pit, you're going to fall in it. And America has fallen into its own trap. And it's beautiful to see. I alluded to that. Let me get that real quick. I'm going to close with this because this is a beautiful time to be alive in order to see what's going down now. This is Sirach or Ecclesiasticus chapter 25 verse 7. And it says, there be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that has joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. And that's what we're seeing right now. All right, we're seeing the fall of our enemy, and it is beautiful. Hey, so with that, hey, shalom.